The biggest expense that I could see that I was making was being cheap trying to get rich.
Failure for successful people is data points.
Yep.
All they're doing is looking at what happened, what went wrong, and said, how do I not repeat this again?
The recipe for success is to find something that works, start, and don't give up. In order to have what the 1% has, you have to do what the 99% will not.
Yeah.
The difference between reality and a dream is execution.
Facts.
The biggest expense in life is what you do not know. There's only 2 ways humanly possible that you can learn.
It has to work or it has to work.
Welcome to Circle of Greatness. I'm your host, Nehemiah Davis, and today I'm excited about this episode, man. I got a guy, man, econ master, digital master, just a crazy businessman. I'm talking about in so many different things, and somebody I've been rocking with for a long time. So without further ado, man, I want to bring my guy, Joshua Chris, up. What's up, dog?
My man, feeling good. Blessed to be here. Excited, man.
I remember when we first met, bro, 2018.
2018.
We went to the 10X conference.
Yep, in Vegas.
Remember
that?
Yeah, I remember it vividly. We ended up having a random networking event.
Yep.
You was on e-commerce. I was on whatever I do. Networking.
That was the first time I ever spoke publicly. You remember that?
Yeah, I remember that. Yeah, you was about nervous as ever. Hi, my name's Joshua Chris. That was hilarious, bro. But long time coming, bro.
Man, long time, man.
Been at this for like 6-7 years now, bro.
Time flies when you're having fun, man.
Man, that's a fact. How you been, man?
Fantastic, blessed, amazing.
Yeah, bro.
Focusing on growth in all areas.
Yeah, that's good, man. So you did a previous podcast with me 3 years ago. So now
been longer.
We've upgraded. Yeah, 3, 4. This is the show now. You know, Circle of Greatness show. You know, elevation. And one of the things we talk about often is I want to get right into it. Like I want to talk about how to really help people level up. And you got this 3 phases of doing so. And I really want to dive right into it. And if y'all are on this show, I want you to grab a pen and paper because I believe these formulas and concepts can 100% help you guys grow. So I want you to jump right into that.
Hey, a sharp pencil is better than a sharp mind.
Right.
No takers are money makers. So I guess I got a lot of frameworks. You talking about the three stages of wealth?
Yeah, 3 stages of wealth.
Okay,
yeah.
so
you think are we jumping in it too fast with that?
If it's okay with our audience, if we over deliver, I mean, as the audience used to be.
Yeah, they like over deliver. Yeah.
Let's start.
Yeah, let's go.
So first and foremost, the most important thing, which I think you did very well, I did very well with, if you're listening, you could do well as well, is understand exactly where you are. Yeah. You cannot determine where you want to go if you don't identify where you are. So step number 1 is really identify where you are right now currently and where you want to be. And when I say where you want to be, we want to make sure it's within reason because we all want to have 100 million. But going from where you are now to 100 million is comparing your chapter 1 to someone's chapter 30. And comparison is the thief of joy. But something I've seen you do exceptionally well that I think that I did well at is a trait that I had that we had in common is we always had tunnel vision, laser vision. When a bullet is shot, it cannot be obstructed in the direction of which it's fired. Yeah. The velocity is there, the target is there. So we were laser targeted, laser focused. Identify exactly where you are right now. Step number 1, exactly where you are right now and set realistic milestones. Notice I said milestones, not goals. Because we understood when you were serving food out the back of the food truck, when you're doing the junk removal, you knew you wouldn't go there to 10 million, to 20 million, to 30 million, whatever the number was. You knew if I could do better than that, which started with Koga, then that was a step up and a step up.
Yeah.
And you want to look at milestones that can lead up to goals. So the milestone, 10K a month, 25K a month, 50K a month, up into those milestones. So understand where you are, create the milestones, create the goals. This is the step 1, which is called wealth creation. And this is going from where you are, where you're exchanging time for money, and you actually have your money and have your asset, whatever that asset is, start to work for you. So the minute you could work harder on yourself than you do for others is the minute you could replace the others that you are really holding, that you need access to in order to get money. This is a job, which stands for just above broke. This is something that you're doing for others where you're exchanging that time for money. Because we all know someone who works harder than us. It's the hardest working person, but we wouldn't change places with them financially. It's because you don't get paid in relativity to how hard you work, but the value that you bring. So how we step into that wealth creation is by finding value. And when I call this a vehicle or a catalyst, for me, you know, it was e-commerce. It was Amazon. When we met between Amazon and Shopify, the thing was going off crazy. It was making money. Like, yo, what was you doing? I remember it was fourth quarter, so it was going crazy. crazy. I'd have to mute it, right? We did, I think, $500,000 that month. I shot ads. So find a vehicle that works for you. And this is something that you know can work for you, that can generate income, has generated income, and will continue to generate income. The key when looking for this vehicle is something that's sustainable. So once you identify that vehicle, whatever it is, and it replaces that job, it replaces what you're currently doing where you are heavily dependent on time, exchanging time for money, then you can graduate to stage 2, which is wealth accumulation. This is when we stage. And notice I'm talking about bite-sized segments. We want to be having these milestones that are relative to each stage. So in stage 1, it'd be identifying the catalyst, getting started, XYZ, creating the LLC, creating the bank account, finding the catalyst, starting mentorship, 5K a month, 10K a month. You're having these milestones that lead up to the goal, and the goal is the second phase. So phase 2 is going to be wealth accumulation.
Yeah.
This is scaling. This is what we like. Wealth accumulation is where in wealth creation, you're going from 0 to 1, which is 0 to 1 million.
Yeah.
Once you get to that 1 million, and notice I said 1 million and not 100,000. The biggest mistake that someone can make is living within limits. We want to live limitless.
Facts.
Right? There's a saying that if you shoot for the moon and you fall, you hit the stars. Why be looking for the ceiling? Right. So once you do that and you get started and we go into wealth accumulation, we're looking for ways to accelerate what it is that we're doing. Right. So you can do this multiple different ways. You can do this partnerships. You can do this through vertical or horizontal expansion, through advertising on different platforms. You can do this through organic. You can do this through SEO. You can do this through sponsored posts. You can do this through influencer marketing. You can do this through so many different ways, but identify what is the highest and best use of your time and what will give you the biggest ROI or return on investment. I think the mistake that too many people make, and I don't know if you remember when we were struggling, like we were stuck at that point, right? And I was already doing millions in e-commerce, but coming into a new world that we kind of learned together in digital marketing around consulting, we were stuck. And then you remember that one catalyst that took us from what tier 1 wealth creation is to wealth accumulation? You remember who we seen speak?
Flatland?
No. Well, yeah, Flatland, but
Russell?
Yeah. Do you remember that one thing that he said to do and not to do it until you feel that it's perfected or you've made X amount of revenue?
Webinar every week. So don't stop till you do it.
2 things. Start and do not stop. So the formula, and the reason why I like the word formula, like the AMZ formula, the reason why I like formula is because formula is a scientific term where when you have a periodic table or you have a combination of ingredients, when they are used effectively and accordingly in the correct measure, it cannot be broken. It's a principle, right? Like oxygen or a water molecule. If you have that composition, it cannot be broken. So the formula was to start and not stop. And too many people overcomplicate things. Complexity is the thief to completion. So we did it caveman style, and caveman style works. Too many people tried too many things. And too many people try too many things, and then they wonder why stuff doesn't work. Complexity. That's why it didn't work. Russell said, do the webinar. Do the webinar nonstop until you feel that you can confidently do it verbatimly and you're generating X amount of revenue. He said over $1 million a year from the webinar, right? Because too many people, they do a webinar once, they try to evergreen it. So we did the webinar how many times? How frequently did we do the webinar?
Every week.
Every week. Sunday, 2 times. We strategically went at 2 times. I went at 2 p.m. What time did you go?
7.
That's because iron sharpens iron. You have to find somebody, and there's 2 things, and I was getting into the formula to success. It's action and accountability.
Yeah.
So number 1, you have to take action, and then number 2, you have to have accountability.
Facts.
Because there's only 2 ways that you can fail at anything in life. Anything. Dieting, losing weight, getting muscle, starting a business. You don't start or you give up.
Yep.
Guess where everybody fails? They give up.
Yeah.
Everybody starts.
Most people. And not even everybody starts. I feel like one of the hardest parts of entrepreneurship is starting. Most people are in their heads so much that they like, well, what if it don't work? What if it do work? What if this fails? What if you fly? Like people got to really start just not giving up. I think that's a critical overlooked piece though. Yeah.
And the saying, the famous saying, I'm sure y'all heard it over and over and over again. If you heard this guy on the podcast or speak, it has to what?
Work or it has to work.
Where did that truly, I don't think anybody really truly understands where that came from and where that saying came from, where you really put your back up against the wall, 10 toes down, and it has to work. It's life or death.
That's it. And it's literally that. It was entrepreneurship for me or I will die. I will 15 years ago, I made up in my mind after being fired from them 10 jobs that I had to make this work. So for my entrepreneurs looking at this, like, you got to make up in your mind that this thing must work. I don't care how hard it get. I don't care how many people tell you it won't work. I don't care how many times you fail. I don't care if you want to give up. You need to keep the end in mind that you're going to be that 6-figure earner, that you're going to be that 7-figure earner, that you're going to be that 8-figure earner, and be willing to do whatever it takes. I was willing to do whatever it took. And not in the last 15 years, I have never had a doubt of it not working. All I knew was it was going to work. I didn't know how I was going to make the money. I just knew I was going to make the money. I didn't know how I was going to become a millionaire, but I knew I was going to become one. I didn't know how I was going to retire my wife or my mom. I knew I was going to do it. And once you set your mind out on giving yourself no other option but making it work, it works, right? I remember this story. I was watching Les Brown speak. I watched this YouTube video, and it was this kid. Stuck in a tree. And like, more of the story, the kid was stuck in the tree. It was 2 kids, nobody in sight. Like, it was nobody around. The kid was stuck in the tree. And the only way to get the kid out of the tree, he had to basically break the branch. Like, he had to go up there and take all his might and pull it. And they was basically saying, like, yo, when it all was said and done, he got down and they was like, yo, how were you able to break that branch? Like, how were you able to get out the tree? Like, how was it possible? Because I didn't have nobody there to tell me I couldn't do it.
Wow.
So many of us don't get to the next level. So many people don't win because you got so many people in your ear. Like, not, and more importantly than some people, normally the biggest enemy is the inner me. Like, it ain't even the external forces you got to worry about. You got to worry about yourself.
Exactly.
So I just think people need to really understand the importance of tapping in and just giving everything you got.
So he said a key word, start. Right. Yeah. And then I said, don't give up. So you know why I feel, because I've become obsessed. We've been in the industry so long. I've become obsessed with really studying, surveying, and identifying why people don't accelerate in the programs when we work with them. And I do this on myself. I use myself as a guinea pig. I don't know if you remember the coaching that we got. We got marriage coaching, and we had to do a test. I've never done this test before. I've done the DISC assessment. We've also done the love language test. But if you feel like you're stuck and you don't know why, or you feel like you start things and you don't finish them and you don't get the results, they got to take the DISC assessment test. Because the DISC assessment test is going to tell you why you are not where you want to be. For instance, we're the same person, different mother, different color, right? Yeah. We're both high Ds. We get stuff done immediately. Execution, success, love, speed. We get it done. But we're a starter, not a finisher. We need to give it to somebody, hire somebody who's the complete opposite of the spectrum. How many years did it realize to figure that out? And we took the test. It's like, oh, that makes sense. Yeah. You take the test, I take the test. It's the same. Okay, we start stuff, but we never finish it. Right? So you could take the DISC test. You can take and Tony Robbins has one. The Myers-Briggs is another one. And if you're a relationship, the love language test is also going to be a game changer. But I want to make sure we hit on that start and do not finish, because if you start it, you do not give up until it works, because it will work, right? And the recipe for success is to find something that works, start, and don't give up, and repeat. And that's what we did every single Sunday for, what was it, 2 years, 2.5 years.
And that's on everything, though. You just got to commit and give it everything you got.
So we talked about wealth creation, wealth accumulation. We did the webinar every single week. Guess what? When we're in the middle of Indonesia or Thailand and the internet crashed and we spent a bunch of money to get people and it crashed and we lost money, it has to work or it has to work. We ran it right back and we ran it right back. Things were never going to go as you want them to go. But as long as you continue to go and you learn, the more you learn, you get to remove the L and then you get to earn. And it's interesting, Neo, I was studying some of the most successful people. I've become fascinated with autobiographies. And I was watching Bill Gates, and I started to compare Bill Gates, Warren Buffett, Mark Zuckerberg, Elon Musk, all billionaires. And they all have common practices and cultures within their organization. Most people, including company owners and non-company owners, are too strict on themselves about a failure, right? Well, a failure isn't the end-all, be-all. And instead of failure, I like lessons.
Yeah.
Because people look at it as failures and they're too hard on themselves. Yep. Oh, well, I failed. If I'm going to try, what if I fail? And then the what if starts to happen.
What if I fly?
What if I stop? What if it doesn't make sense?
Yeah.
What if I make a fool of myself instead of asking himself, what if it works? What if my life changes? What if I make more money in a shorter period of time than I ever thought was ever possible?
That's good.
So I like to look at it as lessons, because when studying the rich, the successful, the 1%ers, the reason why they're 1%ers is they do what the 99% does not.
Facts.
And they actually embrace
what's that joint
failure.
you always say? 1%. You got, in order to get what the 1%ers have,
You have to, in order to have what the 1% has, you have to do what the 99% will not.
Yeah.
And then the second fold is in order to have what the 1% has, you have to know what the 99% does not. Because knowledge is a currency that most underutilize and understand.
Yep.
The more you learn, the more you earn. So the difference between where you are and where you want to be is the skill set that can set you free. So again, I'm studying them and I'm looking at it.
And speaking of that, how important is skill sets, bro?
Skill sets. I mean, we all know somebody, a grandfather, a father, a brother, an uncle, someone from the neighborhood. We all know someone that worked hard their entire lives and don't have anything to show for it. Because it's not the harder you work. The reason why they say it's not as hard as you work, it's as smart as you work, and don't work harder, work smarter, is because, and I'll tell you what my father told me, who worked hard his entire life in the labor field, told me is, your brain will outlast your back. So when you can identify how to make money utilizing your mindset, utilizing your brain, and having a skill set, the higher the skill set, the more irreplaceable the skill set, the more valuable the skill set, right? And like Myron talks about the different levels of value, but the reason why a janitor can work way harder than a brain surgeon is because anybody could go pick up a mop. And I don't mean that with disrespect, but not too many people could go pick up a scalpel. So you need to understand a high income producing skill set, and learning from the top elite, they embrace failure, and it's not a failure to them. They're literally testing to identify what they have to do. So if you make a mistake or you fall on your face, you hit an objection, you hit a barrier, you hit an obstacle, instead of going the opposite way, embrace it, stop, pause, identify what did you do wrong, document that, optimize it, refine it, and go in a different way in a direction until you have it figured out.
That's good.
Right. And that's what I learned from them. And that's how we implement that.
Yeah. And it's so funny when you talk about it, like failure for successful people is data points.
Yep.
All they're doing is looking at what happened, what went wrong, and say, how do I not repeat this again? Like, that's the game. Yep. Like, you got to stop repeating those things.
Yep. And here's the crazy thing. Where most have analysis paralysis and they're fearful to start.
Yep.
Successful, like the difference between the unsuccessful and the successful, the 1%, the 99%, they have analysis paralysis around starting because of fear of failure. And successful people, the elite athletes, I'm talking about entrepreneurs, investors, they have analysis paralysis about not identifying the broken link or the failure or the mistake or the obstacle. Because the faster that you identify that issue, the faster you can rectify it. We've never been afraid to launch a sale, launch a product, test a new program, test a new mentorship, test. Why? Because the faster you identify if it works or not, the faster you know what you have to do next. And there's a process of elimination until you figure it out.
Yeah. And I want you to talk about, bro, like you always talk about measuring, like why is measuring? You always talking about, bro, success is math. What you don't measure, you can't, you know, all the stuff you be saying. Like you framework. Measuring, you got a watch on that measures your heart rate, your speed, your sleep, your calorie intake, like your sleep recovery. You measure like your business through KPIs and numbers. Like, I want people to understand how important measuring is and what KPIs are so they can start incorporating them into their business.
That's a great point. So KPIs are key performing indicators. And we've talked about 3-dimensional. So I'm not just going to talk to you from the wealth aspect, which is business. He mentioned the whoop. This is going to be from health. So you cannot measure what you do not grow. And we often say success is math. If we're trying to identify a budget for a campaign, like let's say you want to make $100,000.
Yeah.
How are we going to make $100,000? How much if we're in the physical world, how much product do you need? How much marketing do you need? If we're in the digital world, how am I doing this? Is it one to many? Is it a webinar? Is it a challenge? Is it from stage? How? So we break this down and we reverse engineer it so that the math makes sense.
Yeah. And what's reverse engineer, just so people understand.
So reverse engineer is, for instance, like I tell you the quickest way. If you're looking at a physical product and let's just say you want to make $3K per day. Okay. A product making $10 per unit, selling 10 units per day, is $2,800 to $3,000 net profit per month.
Yep.
So I'm reversing engineering the 3K. How do I get to the 3K? Okay, I need one product. It's going to generate $10 per product, sell 10 per day. If you want to make X amount on an event, whether it's digital or virtual or physical, etc., how much is it going to cost for you for production? How much is it going to cost for speakers? How much is the overall cost and what needs to be sold, what needs to be offered? And then you subtract that and you can reverse engineer it. So KPIs is important, key performance indicators. We talked about 3-dimensional.
Yeah.
The biggest mistake, one of the biggest mistakes, I've made a lot of mistakes, which is why I've learned a lot, is not looking 3-dimensional. So now in terms of the Whoop, I'm measuring my health. So the Whoop will tell me my calories, how much am I burning? It measures my respiratory rate. It measures my heart rate. It measures my sleep score. It gets to learn me, and it can actually notify me when I need to wake up. How much sleep do I need? How much sleep do I need to get? If I'm in a high stress state, it'll notify me. It'll let me know. I can look at the app, and then I can see and adjust. So I'm constantly looking at what did I do yesterday, and how can I improve tomorrow? Yeah. So too many of us, we look too long term. Like, I want to be a millionaire. If you're starting out, that's not how we started. Yeah, I would like to be a millionaire, but right now I need to get out the hood. Right now I need to make my first 10K. Right now I need to do X, Y, Z.
Milestones, like you said earlier.
Milestones. Yeah. So that's how I look at it. And there's no guesswork, because the definition of insanity is doing the same thing over and over and over again, expecting different results. Facts. I don't want to keep asking myself, which I did, why do I have brain fog? Why don't I have mental clarity? Why am I stressed out? Why do I have this? Why do I have that? I want to know the data behind it. Mm-hmm. So I'm doing this in the health aspect, right? I'm doing blood work once a quarter. I'm doing this in the business every single day. And I'm also doing it with the relationship with my children and my wife. So now you can literally, and I have them all in the same little app category, how you can drag apps. Yep. I can tell anything in the business, P&L, KPIs, how many calls for the day, revenue for the day. I can click Amazon Seller Central, how many sales for the day, how many units. I can click my Whoop app. How many calories did I burn today? If I know I've consumed 2,000, I've burned 3,000, I'm in a caloric deficit of 1,000. How did my heart rate look? How was my sleep score from yesterday? What do I need to do? Do I need to drink more water? Do I need more rest? And I can look and see, did I text my kids and tell them I love them? Did I check in on them? Did I text my wife, tell her I love her? Did I check in on them? So it's health, wealth, and happiness. It's measuring and improving constantly.
Whew. You just went off with that. And I think that KPI thing, you always used to tell me, Barry, how many calls you make today? Like, that really changes the game, right? Just really starting to dial in. But I like, E.T. and Inky always talk about the triple threat, talking about being great in every area. You talk about health, like you said, I believe yours is health, wealth and happiness, right? Yep. So you're touching on business, you're touching on your marriage, you're touching on your relationship with your kids, you're touching on your health. Yep. So I think it's just, if everybody could start creating KPIs around all of those things, I think it would be like crazy important.
Start with one.
Yeah, that's it. One. Yeah, because it's hard to try to conquer all three.
This happened. This obsession came from the webinar. Yeah. Because if you guys recollect, we was talking about that one thing. We wanted to grow the digital business. We did the one thing. We did the webinar every single week. One day, one webinar, one presentation, until we got great at it. But it started with show rate.
I've had the privilege to help hundreds and hundreds of people all around the world open up their own profitable event spaces, utilizing my signature formula. Number one, how to find a space. Number two, how to fund the space, and how to automate the space. I've been in Atlanta, Georgia now living for 2 years. My spaces are still in Philadelphia operating, doing extremely well because we use the same exact formula that I break down, right? If you're interested in learning how we can help you, I want you to go to eventsspacesecrets.com, watch a training or book a call with our team to see if you are a good fit. Again, this is for you specifically if you're looking for other ways to leverage your money and turn that into other streams of income, right? I don't believe there's a better time than right now for you to get tapped into the information in the game that can help you. So again, go to eventsspacesecrets.com, watch the training or book a call with our team to see if you're a good fit for this opportunity. Let's go.
Because when it comes to optimizing your business, and remember, Becker even talked about
how to optimize your business.
When we're talking about optimizing the business, too many people try too many different things. And I'll give you a perfect example in split testing. Let's say you have a funnel. This could be on Amazon, an Amazon listing page. It could be an e-commerce site. It could be a funnel for a webinar challenge. Doesn't matter what it is. You have a page where you're gathering leads or you're selling something. Mm-hmm. People will split test the title. People will split test the price, split test the copy, split test the images, and you never really know what moved the needle. Mm-hmm. So the key to split testing is to test one thing, run it, see what it is, change it, and continue to do that, right?
Yep.
So to grow the business, and when we were doing the webinar, you're not going to increase the show rate, the close rate, the user retention, the opt-in percentage. You're not going to go increase all of those simultaneously. So you have to
one at a time.
Going back to what we talked about, what is the fastest result that you could get, the quickest lever pull to move the needle to get you the fastest result?
Yeah.
So the two biggest ones is obviously going to be the show rate, right? The show rate, and then it's going to be the close rate, right? And that's what we were focusing on. So that's what kind of sparked.
And let me say this. I think this is important too, because one of the things everybody should get to the point is delegate, automate, don't participate, right? I want you to touch on that in a second, right? And the ASAP. Touch on both of them. But one of the things that I think people got to learn is you get good at something, and then you like, let me go figure out how to get good at something else. But you stop doing the thing that you just got good at.
Oh my God.
So when you get good at this thing, you need to delegate that to somebody. Like, for example, I always talk about Instagram infomercials. Post overnight, 12 a.m., 1 a.m., 3 a.m., 5 a.m., 7 a.m. Carter, one of my clients, did that for, he still do it. That's how he joined my mastermind, right? He ran, first guy to run on the stage of Circle CEOs at the time, 35,000. Boom, right? Mm-hmm. And he said, bro, all I'm doing is giving you your money back. Years later, years of continuing to be in my mastermind, he like, bro, I said, you still doing a shot? Why would I stop? We have a problem with finding something that works. Mm-hmm. Then you looking for the next shiny thing that works, but you neglect the thing that has been getting you results. Mm-hmm. So get the thing that work, get that thing working, delegate it to somebody.
Yep.
Create SOPs, standard operating procedures, and then you go to the next. 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 And this is what I call success stacking. Now you just built your 6-figure business, 7-figure business, an 8-figure business by doing. And I was on a pod with Gamal. He talked about he got good at doing the boring things, tackling and blocking if you're playing football. It's the same thing. Doug always talk about doing the same layup every single time. Yep. So I just think people need to understand the importance, bro, of just once you find something that works, double down on it and then go to the next thing. You said you had PSTD about it.
No,
what you mean by that?
I'm just sitting here reminiscing, man. Like it gives me massive anxiety. So I'm gonna give them a $10 million, probably $10 to $30 million lesson in the next 60 seconds.
Ooh,
I hope this doesn't go over your head.
Don't miss it.
So, number one, don't abandon your first flow. Don't abandon your first flow. If I could go back, and there's a list of probably 10 important things. If I could go back when I started entrepreneurship, the minute I met my first mentor, started my first business, the business that made me a millionaire, and I could give myself this one key tip, it would be to do the DISC assessment. Now, why? Right? Why would I do that? And we talked about the Myra-Briggs. We talked about the Tony Robbins DISC. We talked about the love language if you're in a relationship. Yep. The reason why is because I know I was a starter and not a finisher. Mm-hmm. So 2015 to 2018, I blew up my e-commerce business. We were doing at the height around $7 million a year. Profit on that $7 million was about $2.5, $3 million. The EBITDA on that at the time for those businesses selling was around a 5. So EBITDA is earning before interest, taxes, depreciation, appreciation. If I was profiting $2 to $3 million a year on a 5x conservative EBITDA, that was $5 to $12 million cash to exit that business. But I've seen businesses get 10, 15 multiples at that time because of Amazon being new and physical product brands. So what I did is I'm doing the real estate. I got these other businesses. I'm in consulting. Everything's doing good. And this is the law of diminishing return. You have 100% of time, effort, and energy as a single person. Yeah. And if I have one cup, this is me, and I can only utilize 100% of time, effort, and energy into one thing. Yep. When I add a second cup, now it's split in half to 50. You cannot delegate 50% of your time, effort, and energy and expect 100%
facts
rewards. You cannot plant half a seed and get a full harvest. Yeah. So this is what happened. The $7 million a year business went down to $4 million, then $3 million, then the real estate grew. And then I added another cup which is consulting. And then I added another cup where I want to try all these other things until I have multiple cups. And now what happened is
You got 4 or 5 cups splitting your energy 20% now.
I'm managing all of them. You said the delegating. So this is where the ASAP strategy or the ASAP framework that I developed came into play.
Yeah.
If I'm looking at, because we partner with brands, e-commerce, digital, physical, and we help them grow and scale. We literally help them pour rocket fuel literally on
from the mistakes that was made.
From the mistakes that we've made, the millions that we've invested to learn, the millions of mistakes that we've made, and the tens of millions that we've made through the mistakes, right? And this is the issue. When you do that, you need to be able to pivot.
Yeah.
Right? When you do that, you need to be able to pivot. And I was unable to pivot because the high D. So now if I would have known that from the get-go, okay, I can start something, I can execute, I can grow it, but then I got to hand it off. Right? And in the what is the book? Rocket Fuel. Yeah. They talk about the operators, right? They talk about the what's the two terms? Operator and not delegator, but operator and you know the two?
No, but I know it's like the attractive character. I mean, that's what Russell calls it.
So basically like a starter and a finisher, right? EOS, the entrepreneurial operating system. Yeah. We start stuff, we get it going quickly, and then we got to hand it off.
Yeah.
So if I would have known that, I would have known, okay, once I get them at the peak and I'm ready to start something else, doesn't mean that something else is bad. It means that if I'm going to jump in, I need 100% in order to receive 100%. So I need to delegate. You need to hire an executive team, CEO, COO, CFO, CMO, things like this that are scary topics and expensive topics that we didn't know nothing about. So getting into the ASAP strategy, this is a model that we look at for partners. If we're going to potentially partner, if we're going to potentially acquire a business, if I'm going to start a brand, if I'm going to start a business, and it stands for autonomous, sustainable, action, and perpetuity. Yeah. So autonomous. How can we automate something? Yeah. Right. So we're talking about automations from marketing to fulfillment, whether it be fulfillment digitally or physically. Yep. Okay. Sustainable. It has to be sustainable. Right. One of the things when I'm looking for winning products, I'm looking for something that has been selling, is selling, and will continue to sell. When it comes to any evergreen business model, which is health, wealth, and fitness, basically, right? How can we find a product or offer a service that has been selling, will continue to sell in the future, right? Action. The difference between reality and a dream is execution.
Facts.
Right? And remember, faith without works is dead. So you can have a great idea. You can have the faith that it could work and the faith in yourself and your ability. But if you don't execute, it's a dream and not reality. So nothing is possible without action, without execution. Right? So autonomous, sustainable action. The last one's perpetuity. And this is the one that's most overlooked. Right? Perpetuity is forever. How do we make it last? There's too many entrepreneurs that I think they're doing extremely well right now, or they're on a path to where they want to be, but they're not thinking about the next generation and the generation after that. And you know the difference.
Succession plan.
Exactly. You know the difference. Like, have you heard of the Rockefellers?
Yes, sir.
I'm sure you guys have heard of the Rockefellers. When you think of the Rockefellers, you think of a super wealthy, successful family, right?
Yep.
Generational wealth, right? We know the infinite banking, the trust play, but you don't know about the Sinclairs, right? And you don't know about these other families that were significantly more wealthy than them. Why don't you know about them? Because their legacy died when the founder died, or 2 to 3 generations after. They didn't have the systems in place, the perpetuity. So the Rockefeller name will live forever. There's 13 families currently that'll live forever. That
the Waltons.
They run about 75% of the nation's wealth, 13 families, and it'll continue to live forever. This is perpetuity. So how do we set something up? How do we make something once that'll pay us forever? How do we create something to be successful once? Create the systems, right? Automate it, make sure it's sustainable, take action on it, put the correct people to run it, and structure it so that it pays us forever in perpetuity through royalties, through earnings, through dividends. How do we set these things up? And that's what we're looking for. And that's where we messed up, and where I messed up at is not doing that. Right. So I believe
what's another mistake too? Because I want to save people from mistakes, bro.
Man, I've made so many mistakes. It's ridiculous. The biggest one is not selling the brand or not putting If I would have put a CEO in that company would be worth 50 to 100 million today.
Wow.
If I would have sold it, it would have been a 10.
But you didn't know though, right?
The biggest expense in life is what you do not know.
Facts. So you didn't even know at the time you could sell businesses.
I didn't know. Just recently.
Yeah.
I didn't know you could sell businesses. I didn't know what EBITDA was. I didn't know about M&A. I didn't know that I could go acquire my dormant competitors and merge them with my brand to multiply the EBITDA even higher. I didn't know that if I had a physical product business and I merged or acquired a software with that physical product business that I can increase the multiplier. I didn't know that you could buy a pre-existing business and implement strategies that you already have that are proven that they're not utilizing, double their business within 30 days. And that's what we do now. Yeah. We didn't know this, but that's why the biggest expense in life is what you do not know.
Facts.
Right? And you can only learn two ways. There's only two ways humanly possible that you can learn. You can learn through trial and error, which is painful, expensive, and long.
Facts.
Or you can learn through the transfer of knowledge of someone who's went through trial and error. And that's why something that, when we started making money and we got into the digital world, I think a lot of people's prides will set the ceilings on their revenue potentials. One thing that we've never been afraid to do or never been scarceful of doing and had a scarce mindset around doing is investing into ourselves.
Hey guys, this episode is sponsored by the Capture Kings. You're probably looking at this right now and asking yourself like, man, I really want to grow my brand. And I'm super excited to announce that we are officially working with the Capture Kings, right? And what they specifically do is they help e-commerce or digital brands grow, scale, and sell. I'm going to say it one more time. They help digital brands grow, scale, and sell. So if you're interested in working with them, you're interested in partnering with them, if you're interested in learning more, you're going to see a link in the description, right? Or go to CaptureKingsApply.com so you can go ahead and submit your business to see if you're a good fit. Let's get back to the show.
And then one last big mistake. There's so many of them, but just another big mistake that I think a lot of people are looking at now when they're looking at, should I hire that coach? Should I partner with that individual? Should I invest into my business? Too many people want 100% of a seed when they can have 50% of a watermelon or 30%.
Talk that talk, George.
The biggest expense that I could see that I was making was being cheap trying to get rich. So
say it one more time.
I don't
want that to go over there.
One of the biggest expenses that I had was not actually spending enough, because the more you spend, it's actually an investment. And ROI is a framework, return on investment. So the more you invest, the larger the investment. So again, I was being scarce. I was being frugal. I was wearing all the hats. I didn't want to bring on any partners. I didn't want to sell equity. I didn't want to do all of these things. I wanted 100% of a grape when I could have had a fraction of a watermelon. And this is something even Jay-Z talked about with the Ace of Spades. And Ace of Spades being worth $500 million.
Crazy.
I could own it all and it could be worth 50 million, or I could bring in strategic partners and it could be worth $500 million. And that's one of the portfolio companies that took them over $1 billion.
Crazy.
Success leaves clues.
Yeah, I agree.
So that's something that was a big mistake that I took. Two of the biggest mistakes. And there's tons of mistakes.
I got to ask you though, bro. We've been talking about KPIs. We've been talking about measuring your business, measuring your businesses. We've been talking about the wealth creation, wealth accumulation, all of these things, but I feel like we haven't talked about one of the biggest ways to really get right, and it's marketing. Mm-hmm. We already know if they don't know you, they can't flow you. There's somebody listening to this right now, maybe at 6 figures, maybe at 7 figures, but could be could be up a bit more, but they're not making it their business to do whatever it takes to get themselves out here. So I want you to go ahead and share some marketing tips. And then I want to do a laser round, right? Where we literally go back and forth, maybe 3 to 4 times back and forth, giving everybody a way to just increase their income in their business.
I like that.
Instantly. So let's get it.
Yeah. So as mentioned, where attention goes, revenue follows.
Facts.
So in any business, digital or physical, I've done this in both in the sums of 8 figures. All it is attention. So what is marketing? Marketing is a magnet and you're attracting revenue. So how do you get the exposure? How do you build the magnet to be stronger? How do you get it? How do you grow it to be bigger? So all I really did is focus on, again, going back to the 80-20 rule. We talk about the one thing by Gary Keller in the book, The One Thing. What is that one lever that we can pull? So a big mistake is too many people focus on too many things and nothing gets done. Or we talked about the law of diminishing return. So when we're looking to partner or purchase businesses, or I'm auditing my own businesses, I'm looking at it in different levels, right? So you have lead flow, right? You have customer acquisition, You have the different social media channels. The first thing that I'm looking at before I touch anything else is what is doing okay but not great, and is there an easy fix for it?
That's
okay.
good. Yep.
What is doing good but not great, and is there an easy fix for it? Right? Very, very simple. Now, I'll give you a perfect example. If you're looking at the back end of a funnel and you're seeing it has a high bounce rate, right? You can literally go to hotjar.com, install Hotjar on a website, and you can study user behavior. It'll show me the hot map of where people are clicking, and it'll record their mouse and show me what they're doing. So if I notice that they're scrolling down because I got too much stuff on the first page, what I'll do is I'll A/B test removing all the stuff and just having the opt-in. Statistically, that's increased our opt-in percentage by about 20 to 30% by just doing that. That's right good. There, right?
That's good.
So that's one thing. So I'll study that one thing, we'll do that one thing. That's a quick adjustment. Just remove the stuff. All right. So once you do that and you feel that everything's buttoned up, the next thing is to look at what you're not doing and implement that. I'll tell you immediately right now, something that regardless of your physical or digital, something that you could do in your business is audit your lead collection mechanism. We talk about intellectual property, and we get this from my friend Alex, our friend Alex Hermosi.
LCM, lead collection mechanism. That's the LCM model. Lead
connection mechanism. Yeah. So too many people try to sell their business when they want to sell their business. You should start your business how you'd like to sell your business.
Let's say that one more time.
Too many people look about selling their business when they want to sell their business. You should start your business how you want to sell your business. And why I say that is because setting your business up strategically, recurring revenue models, software applications, these small things can do drastic increases in the EBITDA multiplier, which will ultimately make you more millions of dollars or hundreds of thousands of dollars when you sell the asset. Notice I said asset. One of the easiest ways to do this is to own the most IP or intellectual property. Did you know that Google, and I don't know if you remember, there was a gentleman in our mastermind that worked at Google, and he told us this, and it changed my life. Google acquires businesses every single day and dissolves them. And they dissolve them because they only want the data.
Wow.
They want the email list. They want the text list. Right? And
crazy.
Ty Lopez acquired Pier 1 Imports, Radio Shack, and a ton of other underperforming assets. And he negotiated, I don't want the retail locations. I don't want the stock.
I want your data.
I want the website. I want the trademark. I want the lead list.
Wow.
That intellectual property can be bolted onto a new asset and increase the multiple from day one. So right now you want to audit your leads. Are you collecting email? Usually everybody is. Are you collecting phone number? Most people are not. Did you know that the average open rate on an email, if you're good, is 35%. The average open rate on a text message, a ding, is 92%. It's triple. If you tripled your open rate, what did you think you'd do to your business?
Grow it.
Success is math.
Yeah.
If I can triple the amount of people to open my messages or click on my link, I should be able to at least increase my revenue just a little bit, right?
Yep.
That's another one. Let me tell you two more that people are not utilizing. They're not utilizing pixeling. There's something called seasoning a pixel. And not to go too technical, but when you want to run paid media, there's a pixel, whether it be Google, TikTok, Snapchat, or Facebook, that you put on these pages. Very simple. You can Google, you can YouTube how to create a pixel, how to create a media account with XYZ, how to get the pixel and put it on my website. It's a piece of code that you copy, you paste on your website. Too many people wait till they want to run ads to install the pixel when they hire an agency or they want to learn themselves. But from day one, if you put that pixel on there, from day one, you're seasoning your pixel and you're getting actual data on your customer. Why is that important? Because you can do the most profitable thing in paid advertising, which is called retargeting, and secondly, remarketing. Retargeting is when I tell somebody who already bought or somebody who've already done a desirable thing that I want them to do within my business to go do it again, right? Or excuse me, that's remarketing. Retargeting is somebody who hit my website but didn't buy. I can follow them into the end of time until they buy or die, and I can say, check out my thing. And the reason why remarketing and retargeting is so profitable.
And just to clear, with die, I mean not literally die, y'all, meaning like maybe fall off your list.
Basically, if you subscribe to this guy's email list, you get an email every single day. That's remarketing.
And I'm going to let you know this. It won't stop. Just so you know.
It ain't going to stop, unfortunately. You can do that, and you can remarketing, you can retarget. It's extremely profitable because of the law of 7. If you Google, I'm not going to get into it, but if you Google the law of 7, people do business with people whom they know, they like, and trust. And on average, statistically, we're not talking about what we think might work. This is what we're seeing work. is that people have to see you 7 times before they can form a buying decision. Do they know you? Do they like you? Do they trust you? In person, within 30 seconds of meeting someone, you can form a decision. Do I like them? Do I trust them? Do they smell good? Are they dirty? What do you think about them? Subconsciously, you're forming this. But online, that footprint is significantly difficult. So this is why it is efficient, it is important, it is imperative that you remarket and retarget. And lastly, because this made me a ton of money and I can guarantee you probably not doing this. No, I shouldn't give them this one. We'll go ahead.
I don't think they want. No, I'll give it to them, bro.
Push notifications. So 78%, and we have the data to show this, 78% in our e-commerce world and on our digital product world is all on mobile, right? They're all looking at mobile. However, there's still a percentage, a slim percentage, but a percentage of people that are still using tablets, desktops, laptops, and computer style gear, right? You can actually do a push notification. When you turn on your laptop or your desktop, you notice that feed to the right that you look at every single time to see what it is?
Yeah.
That's a push notification. If Google's doing it, is Google a top 100 company?
Yes.
If Amazon's doing it, is Amazon a top 100 company?
Facts.
If Facebook's
Do you
doing
mean
it,
top 10 company?
yeah, top 10?
Yeah.
Is Facebook top 10?
Yes.
So if successful companies are utilizing push notifications and I'm not utilizing push notifications and I start implementing it, do you think it would increase my revenue just a smudge?
Oh, 100%.
So you can go to pushcrew.com and you can set it up. And now when someone visits your site for the first time, a quick pop-up, is it okay that we send you a push notification for future free stuff or promotions? Yes or no? They click yes, you have the authority. You can send them that in perpetuity.
Wow.
And now, when they hit the laptop, do you know what the delivery rate is on a push notification? Email, we talked about 35%. Text, we talked about over 90%. It's 100% on push notifications, which means when you send it out, when the prospect opens the application or the website on their actual computer, it's going to pop up. So those are a few, and this is intellectual property. So the larger the email list, the larger the text message list, the more seasoned data you have on your pixel, and the larger the list that you have for push notifications. Now you can do what's called Omni-marketing, where you're positioning and marketing to them on different platforms. And we didn't even talk about social. We're just talking about the main
Talk about some stuff
the main
on social.
media types.
I'm letting you take the whole blitz round. Go ahead, man. Talk about some social.
You ain't getting out of this one, man. So you got the 4, right? The big 4. So now those are the actual devices and the deliverability types.
Yeah.
Now let's talk about omni-marketing across platform. You have Facebook, Instagram, Snapchat, TikTok, Google, YouTube. Okay? These are the main 6. And remember, if we talk about the law of 7, the problem is people, and I made this mistake. I know you've made this mistake. Too many people are dominant in one platform.
Yes.
If I give anybody the biggest piece of advice, people want to start their business and go grab Instagram if they're Instagram users or Facebook if they're Facebook users, right? The next level is to grab all your handles. Do not go into business unless you can secure the trademark and consider the website. You can get all the handles. But then when you start marketing across all platforms. I made that mistake more than once.
Yeah.
Start marketing on all these platforms. And then when you're remarketing and targeting, make sure that those campaigns are uniform across all of them. So if you leave from Instagram to Facebook, you see me. If you go on Google, you see the banner. You go on YouTube, you see it. Out of sight, out of mind. They don't know you, they can't flow you.
Facts.
And right now we're fighting for attention. Where attention goes, revenue follows.
Yep.
And the attention span is dropping every single year drastically.
Crazy.
So how do we stay in their mind and how do we stay relevant?
Yo, so the first thing, blitz, right? Blitz round, you ready?
Blitz round.
And
back
I want
to back.
to in the comments.
You want to do category? Or you want to do different
I want to
things?
know who wins. Like I think I'm about to blitz you. So first thing.
Come on, man. You don't want the smoke.
First thing that everybody needs to do, literally increase your funnel. Like if you're selling one thing on your site or online, you need to turn that into a funnel and add more products. So if you got one upsell, which stands for OTO1, add another one, and another one, and another one. So immediately, any business can make more money by adding one order bump and one upsell. Any business, physical product, digital product, add another SKU to the thing that you're selling in the funnel. You up.
All right. Well, everybody needs to implement the 3P framework. Double your production, double your prices, and double your product sale, double your business in 30 days. Go.
Okay. So that sounds good, but they didn't really understand that. So I'm going to break it down. So one of the things that people need to do if you have a team of phone closers that are selling your physical product or your regular product, let me tell you something that I taught you, right? So one of the ways
let me see this one.
to increase your revenue is to just increase your call. So most businesses are only open 9 to 5 or whatever, Monday through Friday. So you need to have a crew working on Saturday. You need to have a crew working on Sunday. And then you need a 24-hour messaging team communicating with your customers.
Conversation we had the other day, huh?
It sounds similar. Yeah, it's something I broke down to you then.
Listen, the easiest way that you can increase your revenue right now in your business, right now, is to simply increase your prices. And we talked about this, but you said they didn't catch it.
You just said double it.
But you said they didn't pick up what I'm throwing down.
Max.
You just hit on more calls.
I didn't give that.
You didn't just say more calls?
Yes, I said that.
Okay.
You said double. Come on, you running out of juice?
Running out of juice?
Yeah, what you
Is
got?
Niagara Falls running out of water?
No, let's see what you got.
I don't think so. Listen, if you have the website, and on this website,
yes,
you are selling a product,
yes,
physical or digital,
yep,
and you don't have the ascension elevation formula, which is where you have an order bump, which means before you process your credit card, you can one click to add something of value that you cannot get anywhere else.
Yep.
And number two, an upsell or a downsell where you sell something else that you cannot get anywhere else. And if they say no, you try to sell it to them one more time at a lower price, you're losing 30%.
So you basically just told them what I said about the upsells, downsells. I understand. I understand that I'm winning this blitz round. Let me know who's winning right now, guys. So next.
So we basically said the same thing twice?
Yes. You said what I said.
Bro, but you said what I said first.
Nope, I didn't.
Bro, I just said increase your production, increase your prices.
And all I said was about a phone team.
You said increase the calls.
Yeah, a phone team. Yeah.
Didn't that increase your production?
I'm winning, bro.
All right, bro.
I'm winning.
And then you said funnels next?
Then I went in funnels, then you went to funnels.
You say funnels. Did you say funnels?
Yes. Are you getting tired? Listen, man. Listen, bro. We going back and forth. I'm saying what you saying. You saying what I'm saying.
We both tired. You didn't even tell them it's the third time we recording this because somebody messed up like twice. So we about 3 hours in on set. So where we at?
It's funny you say that. I was about to say we about to cut out what you just said, but I want them to understand, like, bro. No, really, I want them to understand the power of perseverance. Like, we've been at it all day long, running different things, like moving and shaking, like. But that's what it takes sometimes. It takes you redoing things. It takes you going at it again. Yep. So just let the people know, bro, just why they need to persist and just keep going and just end this out with this word of wisdom.
3 most valuable pillars, man. And one last framework I'll give you as we conclude is patience, persistence, resilience. That's my 3 foundations, my 3 pillars. Right now, you guys don't notice, it's 10:30. Right now, if you go back and watch the majority of the podcast episodes, it's daylight out there. What you don't see is Neo's team literally went out there and staged lights. We literally did this podcast an hour and then had to redo it and missed a bunch of stuff. The timing will never be perfect. Right now is the best time to start. Facts. And the difference between patience, persistence, and resilience is patience is knowing that the thing's going to work, but not knowing when. Persistence is continuing to do the thing over and over again, knowing it's going to work, but not getting results. And resilience is knowing the thing is going to work, not knowing when, and making mistakes along the way and wanting to give up, but not give up. So whatever it is that you're doing, don't give up and start, because the only 2 ways you could fail is by not starting or giving up. So start and make it happen.
That's a fact, y'all. Keep walking in greatness. See y'all in the next show. Peace.